You got here 15 minutes early.
Okay, then. What time I get here last week?
Wow, Kent, right away. First question of the day. Why did Riley win more games than Frost this year?
What?
Oh, wait, sorry. Why did Riley? It's early. I need a drink. I said that wrong.
Wow, dude, they're coming out. They're coming out with the guns. They're coming out with the guns.
Yeah, why did Riley win more games last year than Frost?
Wow,
like right to it.
Well, we didn't even announce. We didn't even announce. Welcome to Facebook Live, Touchdown Tommy, or whatever. I'll open and say we didn't even start with that. We get questions like this.
That was quick. Yeah.
We'll get to that. But let's wait till we get more people.
Yeah, some people are getting on.
Wow,
it's a little earlier. Sherry, Bill, Russell, Kent, I'll say good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Sherry's from Georgia.
Oh, what part of Georgia?
Georgia.
Brunswick? Columbus?
Russell's from Norman.
Norman, Oklahoma? Okay, I like it.
Norman.
I like it. Did Oklahoma play yesterday? Have they recovered from the Red River battle?
Yeah, what did they? Kent said sorry for asking the question so quick.
No.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We just want to make sure a lot of people hear your question and we respond to it.
He was locked and loaded.
Yeah, you were locked and loaded, ready to go, and we like that because we have people out there who are frustrated right now. And when I say frustrated, I mean really frustrated. And we're gonna say I'm gonna say it for farther in the show.
Yeah, we got a lot.
We planned this show early because we figured.
Extra time.
Dan has to go to
Monster Trucks Jams
this afternoon around 12:30. So
taking the kids.
So I say, Dan, let's go an hour early and plan for another longer show. You're like, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're at 10 o'clock.
Wow. And people seem to like 10 o'clock.
Well, if they like 10 o'clock, we'll start doing 10 o'clock. I don't care.
10 o'clock worked really well last year.
Yeah.
11 o'clock's okay.
I can do 10 o'clock because now that we can do it remotely.
We can do a remote.
I don't have to be here if I'm out of town. You actually hop on.
Snowy days or whatever.
Snowy days.
We can do it remote.
Yeah, we can do it remote.
We did it remote. Was that last week we did it?
2 weeks ago when I was in California.
Was that 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I thought that one came out. That might have been honestly, that might have been one of my favorite podcasts.
Was it?
Just because, so we've been doing this for a long time. And even before I was on here, I was always behind the camera working on it. And Jimmy was around, and Ashley was around. Yep. She's pregnant again, by the way.
Wow.
She's pregnant.
And Brittany was here.
Was here. But
shouts out to Brittany out in California.
Yeah. She's hanging out in San Francisco, I think.
Yeah, somewhere out in the area.
But all this time, I thought 2 weeks ago, that show, you approached the questions and the answers very different than I've ever seen you approach them before.
Because
you were calm and you had a different maturity. Not that you're not mature, but there was a different, you painted it in a very different, calm, it wasn't, you didn't hear the same level of frustration. Even though you could tell you were passionate about it.
I'm still passionate. I'm still frustrated, but it's getting to the point now to where I'm tired of hearing the same things over and over and over again from the coaching staff. I'm tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over again from people who follow me on Twitter, follow us on this. You know, they try to get personal with me, talk about my Dome career, talk about my coaching career. You know, I've never been someone to hide from my coaching career, and I'm not going to hide from it. But doesn't mean I can't be critical. You know, because I was a former player, doesn't mean I don't support, but I still can be critical. And until people understand that I'm talking more from a fan than a former athlete, then they're going to understand it. You know, it's one thing when fans can criticize people, but when an alumni or former athlete or someone who's passionate about the program does it, then it's wrong. And then they want to take personal shots at me. Fine, take personal shots at me. Not going to stop me from giving my opinion. And I'm calm because I know who I am. I know where my heart is. I know that I'm very prideful for the University of Nebraska in all forms of it. So that's why I'm more calmer. That's why I'm cool with my responses now.
I enjoyed it. And, one of my biggest worries when we were going into this, we knew there were going to be a rough season. And my biggest worry was
I still remember you didn't want to do the show this year.
I was very hesitant, yeah.
And I said, no, let's do it.
I like recording. I enjoy this. I wish we'd do it more often, to be honest. I wish we need to do more stuff.
And we're going to start doing more stuff.
I have some thoughts on that too.
You see, I got some thoughts too.
All right. So there's more stuff we really need to do. But I was worried just about the negativity and just the repeating, we've done this. we went through the Bo and the Riley, and we've had those comments and the frustration and the people. I mean, nothing beats the time when you called Bo Pelini out.
Right.
And it literally split the state in half. Like, people were, should he go? Should he stay? And
I was wrong half of them. I was right half of them. But someone had to say it.
Well, that's...
And everyone, you know, you listen to what they call it, coffee shop talk or Sunday morning quarterback when people sit around at the church or at breakfast talking about it. They should have did it. They should have did that. And people were afraid to say something. You know, I have when that whole deal with the whole plea. I had former players calling me talking about, well, he needs to go. He needs to go. I said, why don't you say something? Well, so you know what? I put out what I said. I put out there what most people want to say, but are afraid to say it.
Yeah.
But someone had to say it. Because what it did was got them to look at what was really going on. I never want to be that person to cause controversy. But if people are saying things to me, and I'm hearing it from both sides, then someone got to put it out there for discussion.
Well, that's it, right? You're triggering discussion.
I'm triggering discussion.
And some people hate that, but the other people love that somebody's actually finally saying it. And even the people that hate it eventually, right, when they came down and you said Bo Pelini, or you talked about Riley, and you never called out Riley necessarily, but you said let him have his time. And
let him have his time, and if it doesn't work at the end of the year, then go.
But
speaking of Riley, now we can get to that question.
Oh.
That was it Ken?
Yeah, it was Kent.
Kent?
Kent.
And is Kent from Norman, Oklahoma?
Kent was not from Norman. I don't know. I'm going back. Kent wasn't from I don't know where Kent's from, but Kent's question originally was, why did Riley win more games last year than Frost has this year?
Experience. Okay? And people are going to take this the wrong way. You got a guy who's been a head coach for over 30-some years at the professional college level. And I know people say, well, he was a 500 coach. He was a 500 coach at Oregon State. But look at the bottom line. When you do the things that he did at Oregon State and gained experience, and there's nothing that can surprise you, then you learn that. His staff was better prepared to know what the players could do. Changing from one coach to the next coach doesn't guarantee you're going to have more wins. But there was a system in place, and there's a level of trust that the kids had with Coach Riley. And so they were able to go out and win some games early. Now, is that to say that it was a wrong choice to get rid of Coach Riley? Right now, it seems like that way, based off the record.
Yeah.
And that's not saying anything against what Coach Frost is doing down there. But hindsight is 20/20. To where when you get rid of Coach and you think that things are going to be better, and the coach comes in and talk about, we're here to compete for Big Ten championships. We're not going to wait 2 or 3 years. We're going to do it now. And the things that you preach in the media, things that you preach and that you said aren't happening, then I think there's a level of trust that is going on down there. And I understand transition. Don't get me wrong, I understand that. But there are times that the only way you're going to get your players to truly buy and truly trust what you're saying is when difficult times come, when tough decisions you make the decisions and you pull out a win that you weren't supposed to win, or you figure out a way to win a football game as a coach. And I go back to our first year at Baylor with Kevin Steele. And I think it was the first game or second game.
What was the record going in? What was the previous year? What was the record?
Previous year, I think they were 4-8.
They were really bad back then, right?
They were really bad, and transition needed.
Yeah.
But we go in there and we preach, hey, this is the new mentality. We're going to change. We're going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way. That we get a team on the ropes instead of just playing to win the game, playing to save the win. We're going to compete, and we did that. And we had the lead, and we were on a 2-yard line, and the coaches come on the microphone and say, hey coach, let's just take a knee. We'll take this victory. And I said, no, coach, just take the victory. He's like, no, we preach, and this exact word, we preach to these kids all week that when we get a team down, we're not going to sit on the lead. We're going to play the game to win the game.
That was Kevin Steele?
We're going to give them positive output. We're going to give them positive income. I'll say, okay, well, we ran the ball. The guy fumbled the ball in the end zone. The guy, UNLV picked up, ran it back for a touchdown. Last play of the game, won the game, beat us. But he earned those kids' trust because he had been preaching all week.
And he followed through with his
action. And he followed through with it. So, back to Scott. If this is how you're preaching, then you got to start making those decisions in games to get those kids to believe it. And I think that's why Mike Riley had more wins at this point last year than they have this year. And you can't blame it on talent because it's still.
It seems very
Yesterday's game, Nebraska, in my opinion, was clearly had more talent on the field.
Yeah.
Yesterday's game came down to coaching decisions. And no one wants to say that, but it truly did. Because as much as we've harped on the defense, as much as we've harped on the offense, those kids played well enough that yesterday made plays to win that game. Were they perfect? No. But when you're up by 10 points with 5 minutes left in the game, and you're up by a touchdown with 2 minutes left in the game, and all you need is one first down, and you call 3 conservative run plays, and you put the faith of the game on the defense, something's wrong with that pitcher. You play the game to win it. And yesterday I felt that they didn't play the game to win it at the end. It was a totally different play calling system offensively than it was the whole game.
Yeah. And those 3 plays, I just mentioned my struggle with the 3 plays, just they were conservative. And no offense, Washington has shined, and you see glimmers of real talent there.
Yeah, but Zebo was having a monster day.
He's the guy that should have been in there for those 3 plays.
Yes, if you're going to run the ball
especially up
the middle, then you put your best up-the-middle guy there, not a guy who likes to hop around.
Yeah.
And you run the plays that have been successful the whole game there. You need one first down.
Yeah, one first down.
One first down.
Game's over.
I think they had one timeout. It'd been less than a minute and a half. You can kneel the ball a couple times to call, and the game's over.
And you've seen what I thought was interesting. You've seen the reaction, or you've seen the defense after those 3 and out. The defense came on the field, and the defense had played pretty decent all day.
Yeah, but it's something to do the passing game, you know.
And then all of us, let me rephrase that. I thought they played pretty decent all day.
They played well enough to win that game yesterday.
Yeah, and then but that last series they just completely collapsed. Or Northwestern.
I don't think they collapsed. Once again, I think it comes back to there are some coaching decisions that was being made.
Why are they playing so far? Like, it seemed like they're playing off of the receivers, a distance off the receivers.
Once again, they didn't want to have a big play happen.
Oh, so they're playing more conservatively.
They're more conservative than being more aggressive there.
I got you.
And what's frustrating to me about what happened yesterday is that once that game was over, I turned and watched Iowa State play West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay? And West Virginia, number 6 ranked team. Iowa State. And I watched those coaches from Iowa State to where when they got the lead, they didn't sit on the lead. I mean, they kept attacking because that's what they had been doing the whole game. And I just felt Nebraska should have continued attacking. I think I sent you a text to say, how come they're not being more aggressive here?
Yeah.
You know, they were aggressive most of the game, and right now they're going back to their ways to not being aggressive. And I think I sent you that text to say we need to be more aggressive here.
Yeah.
And look what happened. When you take your gas off the pedal, that's the type of stuff that happened.
All right, we got a ton of
I like
comments.
it.
So
the questions are flowing in today.
Let's see. I'm going to read some comments, and I'll go back and try to pick out some of the questions. Okay. So I don't even know if I can go back far enough. So if you guys made comments previously, sorry about that. Sherry, there's a lot of people. Tom says hi. Good morning to Kevin. April says hi from BA. I don't know what BA is. Do you know what BA is? I don't know what BA is, but from BA. Kent was from Scottsbluff, by the way.
Okay.
He's from Scottsbluff. Brad said we got out coached yesterday. It was embarrassing. This one is on the staff. I think that's where we're getting. Jason says hi. Sean says play calling cost us the game against the Buffaloes with 3 minutes left in it. It might have. I don't remember the end of that game. It's Colorado, but it was close. It was a close game.
It was a close game.
Phil says good morning. Andrew says always much respect for Tommy Frazier. And
thank you.
And I'll add Dan Powers. Bill says he's not giving up. Well,
I don't think anybody's giving
up. John says he's glad you're honest. What else we got?
That's one of the 2,000 people out there who think I'm too honest. I shouldn't be honest. I should just keep my mouth closed and be supportive. I'm very supportive of what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm telling people. I'm sending down names to one of my friends down there who's about recruits that I know for a fact they want to come here, and you got to look at them. And not getting phone calls back sometimes, but that's okay. So if I was supportive, then why would I be out here trying to help send them names, recommend people? Yeah. Hey, take a look at a kid.
Yeah,
see, that's what people don't know that I do.
No, we don't. Well, you don't talk about it.
I don't talk about it because I don't need to let people know. Yeah. I'm letting people know that I'm being very supportive of trying to find young players, whether it's in Florida, whether it's in California, whether it's in Wyoming, wherever. Because people send me names, and I look at they send me their huddled video, and I look at it and say, well, he might not be here, but But if they are, then I say, hey, have you looked at this kid here?
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact there's a kid right now I know that will come here right now, 4-star player right now, will come here if they offer him. Know for a fact. Defensive back. But no one will call him. And the dad keeps calling me. I was like, hey, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I keep pushing the name out there. So I'm trying to do my part from afar.
Which is good because we get questions about that sometimes. But I think there's two types of people in this world, right? Well, there's a lot of types. But when it comes to this, there's the type of person that says, hey, everything that should be said constantly should be positive because that positive reinforcement, we're behind you, constantly boosting people up. And it's that whole, just that positive mentality they believe it's going to, I don't know. And then there's the other people that's more reality, right? Let's just talk about what's real and what we see on the field, and let's just address the problems from a realistic perspective.
And I want to address for those people who are always saying we need to always be positive and encouraging to help boost people up. That is the problem with our society now, to where we've taken things that we're trying to be too positive for kids. That's why you start to see a lot of stuff you have in our society now that you didn't see 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So especially in the schools, okay. And there was something that happened in high school here in Omaha last week.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the mentality of what, and I'm guilty of it as parents, to where we're raising our kids today, to where we're treating athletes today, to where parents are calling their kids today, their athletes or their kids today, to where it's the reason why we're having things that happen today in sports. And so I come from the land of old school. You tell me I'm not good, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's a challenge to me.
Yeah.
You tell me, oh, you're not good, but we're going to work on it. We're going to get you there. That's not, to me, don't put a pacifier in my mouth. Let me be a man, because football is a man's sport. And if you're always positive when things aren't going well, these kids aren't dumb. They know what's going on. So let's be old school with these kids. Let them know, hey, you stink.
Yeah.
You're not going to play another down until you do what you're supposed to do 100% of the time.
Kids feed off that.
Kids, some
at least some, and some don't.
Some kids do, some don't.
But then there's a chance that, well, not wrong with that, but I'm guessing those kids probably belong in a different subject, a different area, they'll ultimately feed off of what they enjoy. If you really enjoy it and somebody tells you stink.
Football to me is real world. Because once you're done playing football and you get a full-time job, you're going to get criticized daily if you're not doing your job well, and you could get fired. So now's the time to start teaching kids lessons about life, because a lot of these kids aren't going to play professional football. Okay? So football's teaching is a great avenue. Sports is a great avenue to teach kids about real life experiences that you're going to get criticized.
Yeah.
You're going to get challenged to do your job better. And if you don't, there's going to be consequences for it. So people always talk about, y'all got to be positive and all this kind of stuff. Unless you own your own company and you work for yourself,
yeah,
you're all going to be criticized, and you're not going to be. No one's going to say, okay, Johnny, your sales numbers are down for the last 2 quarters. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep fighting.
Well, as an example, from the outside, I could be wrong about this situation, but from the outside, it looks like Greg Bell left a couple of weeks ago. It looks like Greg Bell is the starting quarterback or starting running back. He was getting all the pats in the back. He's the number one JUCO coming into in the country at that time, the year before, number one running back in JUCO. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's pumping this guy up, and then the moment there's some competition, it appears, I could be wrong, it appears he didn't like that competition. He didn't like that.
That's what, to me, well, I don't know what went on with those meetings, but to me,
I just
he wasn't number one on the starting, number one on the depth chart, and so he left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're not mentally strong enough after a while.
Because of the way we are handling them. Get back to the old school. I still remember his name is Ed Shannon. He was an athletic trainer back in high school. And discipline was, hey, we do something wrong in school or we do something wrong on the football field. Guess what he did? He took us behind the shed and paddled us with a wood paddle. Now, you can't do that anymore in football, but that so showed us that, hey, we had to be doing things 100% all the time.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
We definitely don't do that anymore.
Discipline, even discipline of kids these days are totally different. Go to timeout. Or go sit in the corner for 3 seconds. What is sitting in the corner for 3 seconds? Or 3 minutes?
Sean says, didn't MR lose us games to even.
Yes, Mike Riley lost games that he shouldn't have lost.
Sorry, I didn't get the whole question out. I was moving too fast.
Yes, I'm pretty sure did he lose games like that? Yes, he did. Because that's why we're here. That's why he's not here. It happens, but you got to. But as a coach, you got to do everything in your power to make sure that you take all the pressure off those players, and because you're the one that's calling the plays, you're the one that's telling the kids what to do. Now they got to go out and execute. I'm not taking anything about yesterday what happened, like snapping the ball on the ground on 4th down. Right there, why go for it on 4th down? Kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you don't, what best would have happened, what you do now, if you don't make it, all they have to do is go out and kick a field goal and win the game. Force them to score a touchdown. If they don't, then you go to another. You kick a field goal. You go to another. You give yourself another opportunity.
You know what's crazy though is I wasn't even really that mad at the end of that game, which is the most disappointing thing. To me, it's a little disappointing that I've become so just complacent with what's going on. I mean, I want them to win. I watched the whole game.
Right.
I was frustrated at the end. I was really irritated when they ran those three conservative plays and didn't go for the first down, or didn't appear like they even tried.
Right.
I don't understand that at all.
I was mad.
I was mad, but in the same sense, in years prior, I would have been really pissed over it. It would have probably even changed how the outcome of my day would have went.
Right.
I would have thought about it all day, been pissed all day about it, but I just waved it off like nothing. I've come so used to just
disappointment.
Yeah, that I've just like, all right. I thought,
and it's tough, and I know fans. I know there's some fans who are questioning things down there. I know fans who are all on board. Whichever side of the fence you on, then you still on that side of the fence until you see either improvement or you don't see improvement. You see winning games, you don't see winning game. You're not going to change everybody's mind. Yeah. There are some people who have already have their mind made up about Coach Frost. There's some who haven't made their mind up, and there's some who are all in. Well, you got to change the coach, got to change the coach, got to change the culture. Well, quite frankly, people, the culture starts at the top. Okay? It starts at the top, and it works its way down. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Cindy asked an interesting question that I don't know anybody can answer except for maybe you, maybe some others. But right now, what do you think? She asked, what do you think Coach Osborne is thinking about the program and what's going on?
Coach Osborne it's a transition. Coach Osborne will never come out and say, well, we need to do this. I think Coach Osborne is being positive because he understands the culture of coaching. Okay? He understands it. But at the end of the day, whether what Coach Osborne says or not doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the most frustrating that's bothering me now, to where everyone keeps going back and say, well, what will Coach Osborne do? What will Coach Osborne do? This is a different time and day in coaching. People aren't as patient as they were when he took over in the 70s. You get people remember, they wanted to fire him after 5 years because he couldn't beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay? And he was winning 85% of his games then. So when people, it's a time and day. It's different times. Fans aren't as patient. There's a lot more money involved in this. Okay? There's a lot more rules involved in this. There's a lot more TV coverage. There's a lot more social media involved than it was 70s, 80s, 90s. So Coach Osborne is a great influence down there. He can give ideas, but he can't go out and coach and teach them how to coach it.
Yeah.
And so that's why when people say, what Coach Osborne do? No one knows what the Coach Osborne. Look at Bill Snyder struggling at Kansas State this year.
Yeah. It's a different game.
It's a different game.
We've talked about this a lot. Recruiting's extremely the whole game is very different.
Recruiting's tougher now than it's ever been.
Yeah. Recruiting it's a game in itself.
Yes.
Like, I remember when you came here, you were like one of the first real big, if not the first big recruit to Nebraska. And then all of a sudden now it's like they're doing mini camps all over, and it's it's publicized, it's carried. I mean, ESPN, and there's websites that do nothing but follow recruiting, and it's a whole different beast now.
So Coach Osborne's there to lend a help and help and ask, but it's a different game from when Coach Osborne coached. And that's nothing against Coach Osborne. It's just facts.
USA Today article. This is from Chris. Chris says USA Today did an article, said that Coach Frost, or Nebraska would owe Coach Frost $26 million if they got rid of him today.
No one's talking about firing Coach Frost.
Yeah, I think that's a little far. Yeah,
no one's talking about that.
It's an interesting number, but I don't think that's what we're anybody's saying it all.
But even for USA to write an article like that, no one's good. Scott's not going anywhere.
That's actually interesting because every commentator I've listened to so far has said, hey.
It's going to take time. I even said it's going to take time. Yeah. I've said up day one. It's not going to happen as fast as you guys want it to happen. The way people are talking. He's not the savior right now. I've said that from day one. Give it time.
Sean said you should be more honest.
I don't want to be more honest.
That's funny.
I'm trying not to be too honest. People don't like when I'm honest.
Troy lost to Liberty.
Yeah, well, Turner-Gill.
Interesting.
Turner-Gill.
Yeah.
Where shouts out to the Flames. Where they go Turner-Gill and Joe Daly. You know, you got a lot
Joe
of
Daly there too?
He's offensive coordinator.
I didn't know that.
You got a lot of former Nebraska guys on that. I think Aaron Schramm is on there. So, and I think this is their second year as a Division I school.
Yeah, are they Division I?
Yeah, I think they went last year. Oh. Last year was their first full year, or it could be this year. But they're applying for the Division I status.
Yeah, good for Turner-Gill.
So they got to go through that probation period of 2 or 3 years or 4 years before they become part of it. So shouts out to the Liberty Flames. Where they go, Coach Gill? Wow, we missed on that one too, didn't we?
Yeah. Well.
And that's another story in itself. There, I can spend a whole show on that one.
We should. It's like one of these days. What did Mark Tracy asked about? What's your thoughts on the secondary were yesterday?
Secondary, they need work.
I mean,
and we said this last. I think we said this last week to where out of all the positions on the field, there's 2 positions that has had to have the most change out of anybody because they've had so many different coaches, and that was wide receivers and DBs. I think Lamar Jackson had 4 different DB coaches since he's been here.
He almost had a nice snag yesterday.
Yeah, but I think he's had 4 different defensive back coaches.
Yeah.
You talk about stability. You talking about each coach teaching them something different. And that's tough for those guys. And now they're young, and now you're trying to get them to learn a new scheme. It's tough. And then, if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, you're putting those guys out on the island. Deion Sanders be the first one to tell you, say, hey, I can cover guys for 6 seconds, but I can't cover guys for 6.5.
Yeah.
And that's what it seemed like yesterday, that those guys had to cover for a long time.
Yeah. There was a lot. He had a lot of time. We did some blitzing, but
not enough.
He had a lot of time throughout the game.
Not enough, especially late in the game when he's sitting back there just trying to figure out where he wants to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So defensive backs, that's the toughest job on the field because you either gonna win it or you're gonna lose it. But everything also helps when you get pressure on the quarterback. Makes your job a lot easier.
Jim says, how did Northwestern get away with the intentional grounding twice at the end of the game?
People, that's not intentional ground. If you understand the rule, as long as there's an eligible receiver within 5 yards of the ball, even though he's on the ground, he still probably say, hey, he was throwing the ball at a guy's feet. I understand if from a fan you think it's intentional grounding, but as long as there's a receiver within 5 yards of the ball where he throws it, it's not intentional grounding. And you go back and look at videos, number 1 was a running back, was right there. Now, he don't have to throw a catchable ball. He just has to throw it close to his feet. And that's what he did.
I don't think I had to explain that to my wife. April didn't realize what was going on either. Because it looks like, right? It looks like, it
looks like he's not trying, but there's a receiver there.
Yeah, there's a receiver in the area.
And that's what people that's what I get about when I hear all these armchair quarterbacks who go on social media, who tweet, who call into these radio shows, talk about that wasn't intentional to ground, and go back and read the rules. That was not intentional to ground him because there was a receiver within 5 yards of the pass.
There did seem to be some questionable calls before that. I don't remember what Nebraska got called on. There was a couple of calls before that.
Yeah,
I was like,
people, if you want to blame referees for this game, then you're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, I was going to say, so there's 2 things I was going to say. One, I think there was some calls I seen that I don't even remember what they were that I thought that was
the judgment call. The judgment calls.
They're judgment calls, and I didn't like the judgment call. But the 2 things I was going with that, or the one, first of all, I seen people say that it was the referee's fault that we lost. But the second thing I always said, and I live by now, and I believe it's true, is you said for a long time, it kind of always just works itself out. There'll be judgment calls, both sides, and eventually it always seems to work itself out.
Right, and I think Northwestern had 3 calls yesterday, 3 penalties yesterday, maybe 4.
Towards the very end. They were clean until the end.
Guess what? Because Northwestern played pretty much a clean football game when it comes to penalties. Okay? At the end of the day, when you look at that game, you can't blame those calls that the referee made or didn't make. The reason why Nebraska lost that game because they still had the lead with 5 minutes left to go in the game. They still had the lead with 2 minutes and 20-some seconds left in the game. All they had to do was get a first down. The game's over, and they didn't do it. So don't leave the referees out of it because you can look at every game on TV, and you don't see, questionable call. Oh, that's questionable call. Oh, that's shouldn't have called. So the players still got to play the game.
Well, roughing the passer, was it the last series of the game when there was
in the end zone? Did the guy? Hey, the rule is you can't hit the guy up high in the head, and he did.
That's what it. That was a painful call.
No, it's a painful call, but it was a legit call because you go back and look at it. He did hit the guy in the helmet. It was a legit call. That one hurt us. Rule. That one hurt us. Yeah. Did it hurt us? Yes, it hurt us. But did it hurt us? No, because you still got 80-some yards to defend it.
We gave him a little bit of room, a little bit of breathing room,
and still don't excuse the fact that they marched 99 yards down the field.
God, and I thought here's
the thing about it, and they didn't have any timeouts.
I know. Yeah.
They had 0 timeouts and marched the ball 99 yards down the field.
I mean, kudos to Northwestern. I mean, I'm not a big fan. I want Nebraska to win, but geez, it was impressive.
They made the plays they were supposed to make when they needed to make.
They played to win.
They played to win the game. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Which comes from experience and coaching staffs. Think about that. How many times has Fitzgerald beat Nebraska late in the game like that? Several times.
Several times recently.
Several times.
Yeah.
It's like every time they beat Nebraska, it's always come down late.
Yeah.
And they have enough poise to go out and take the game. They don't get conservative. So that's why I stand. So people lay off the referees. Don't blame the referees for that loss yesterday.
Mike Davis, Mike says, do you have a problem with the coaches grabbing the face mask when challenging players?
No. That's tough. That's football. It's tough love. Now I can see if they're grabbing the face mask and slinging around the field.
Yeah.
But what Jimbo Fisher did a couple weeks ago to A&M, I have no problem with that because he's trying to discipline his kid. You don't do that. You don't make a stupid pen's gonna cost us a game. Now if you're doing it because you don't like the kid out of spite, no. But that's part of football. You know, I think who was head coach at East Tennessee State, Sanders, who used to be the offensive coordinator at Florida State.
Oh yeah.
He did that in the spring. Got suspended for a week. It's not like he was doing it maliciously. He's just trying to set up a culture to where, hey, and even the kid, and here's why I like what happened at Texas A&M. Even the kid came out and said, I deserved it. I wasn't doing things the Coach Fisher way.
Yeah.
I could have cost my team. So I deserve what he did. And have you heard anything else since that? No. There's a time and place for all that kind of stuff, but if you're not doing it to try to embarrass someone, I don't have no problem with that.
Well, these also aren't 10-year-old kids, right?
Yeah, but we treat them that way, though.
Yeah, you're right.
We treat kids that way.
In fact, I mean, I always think it's interesting because you always say, hey, support the kids or rally. You know, you hear the word kids a lot. At the end of the day, these are really grown-ass men.
They're young adults.
They're young, yeah.
By state law, most of them are adult, considered an adult.
Yeah. John said you nailed it with discipline. Bill said we got some shoddy calls.
I'll be the first one to say we got shoddy calls, but those shoddy calls really cost us the game.
John says, I'm sick of people still making excuses and blaming Riley.
It's not Riley. It's Scott's team.
It is now.
And last time I checked, how many new players do we have on the team? Over 50-some new players?
Yeah.
And so who brought in those 50 new players?
50 new players. How many people are on the roster now? Do you know?
Well, I know you only have 85 scholarships. So, but out of 85, 50. Well, I'm not saying they all on scholarship.
Yeah, but there was.
But 53 new players on this team. So you can't continue saying these are Mike Riley. This is Mike Riley's players because they're not. Now some of the key players are. But 53 other players out of I'd say 100. Half the team you brought in yourself.
Ross asks. I didn't even think about this, Ross. But Ross says, what do you think the mindset of the players are going forward now that they're out of bowl contention?
Well, they're not out of bowl contention. They just got to win every game from here on
out.
They
have to win. They
got to win out.
So they're out of bowl contention.
Well, it's still football. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
They're out of bowl contention, but I'm not going to throw
You're right.
I'm not going to throw in the flag until they lose to Ohio State.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because if they went out, they're in the bowl.
Yeah.
But you use this as getting better. You progress. You still try to win every game, but you use this as getting better. Okay, and it starts this week. Minnesota's a beatable team. Minnesota to me is kind of like Northwestern.
Yeah.
And what did I say yesterday? Turnovers and penalties going. If Nebraska can limit those things, they'll beat Northwestern. How many penalties did we have yesterday? 9, 10.
Yeah, somewhere. Just push it.
And for peak's sake, the very
9.
First play of the game.
Very first. Very first.
The very first play of the game.
That was embarrassing a little bit.
So, so that's the type of stuff that you keep hearing it time and time again. We got to stop being ourselves. And guess what? They continue beating them.
Because yesterday we did. Yeah, it was 9 or 10 for roughly 100 yards.
Yes.
3 turnovers.
That's a football field.
Yeah. 3 turnovers.
So that's what I'm getting at. To where you got to start disciplining players for making those key mistakes. I can understand pass interference. Sometimes those are judgment calls. I mean, hey, the ball's on the throw. But pre-snap penalties is what's really killing Nebraska.
Yeah.
Aggressive penalties, yeah, well.
There was some pass interference calls yesterday that I disagree with, but that's,
that's part of the game.
Yeah. But the false start?
But the false start, you can't blame that on the referee.
Oh.
The bad snap, the fourth in overtime, you can't blame it on the referee.
Sealed the deal.
Calling 3 run plays when we got the lead by 7, all you got to do is get a first down. You can't blame it on the referee. Playing zone defense on a 99-yard job and not blitzing twice the whole drive. Yeah. You can't blame referees on that.
Well, Blake says 455 yards passing against us. Can't blame that on referees
either. Can't blame it on referees either. And you had one guy who had 12 catches for 220 yards.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on referees. Okay? So that's what I'm getting at. This team find ways to beat themselves even when they have the lead. It's called strapping it up. Coaches, players, trainers, whoever who has a hand and getting the job done, no matter what.
Dave says he'd put his money on Liberty to beat us right now.
Well, because he beat Troy. Okay, everyone has their opinion about it. I'm just telling you, Nebraska's not as bad as people think they are, but they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, they haven't figured out how to win yet. Like yesterday, I thought, hey. Going into the end of it, I thought, man, they finally figured out how to win.
Yeah, the schedule was set up so perfect for them after losing the first 5 games. Say, hey, they have 3 winnable games going into Ohio State. And they can be 3-5 going to Ohio State, lose Ohio State, be 3-6, and then they have 3 more games out there. They can run the table because all those teams are beatable.
Yeah,
and go to a bowl game first year. And yesterday was perfect. They had the lead 5 minutes into the game, and they lost it in overtime. Which I thought overtime was poorly managed as well.
They look terrible in overtime.
It was poorly managed as well.
Yeah. What did you go into specific? What do you mean by that? What did you think when you say poorly managed?
Once again, you're not playing to win the game. Go back and look at how up to 55 minutes into the game, offensively, the play calling offensively.
Yeah.
And look at the last 5 minutes and the 4 plays in overtime. Was it different play calling? Were they attacking? Or were they just hoping that we don't make a mistake? Whatever.
That's definitely what it felt like, especially in overtime. It felt like we weren't going.
And then you go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, and it's come on. You're in overtime. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
I know hindsight is 2020. Got the first down, but still kick the field goal. I know he missed one, but still, though, he's your kicker. So you got to have some confidence, especially in overtime. So I just thought the last five minutes of that game and 4 plays of overtime, it was a totally different offense. I hope people watch the same thing I saw.
It looked like they were playing super conservative. Yeah. In that game, they did not look like. They just didn't look like the same team whatsoever. The end of the game, those 3 plays, those 3 run up the middles they had, and then overtime. But you said the kicking game. Just on that note, I think I said this. We mentioned it briefly before we got on the air. But Lighthorn had a beautiful kick at the end of the game. So at least you got to give credit where it's deserved. That guy, what a kick!
Yeah, Spellman had a good return, but then once again you had a block in the back.
Yeah.
So special team, and I know people are tough on Pickering, but he's still a true freshman. God, this kid is going to be a good kicker for Nebraska.
Yeah,
he's going to be a real good kicker for Nebraska. You know, once again, what goes when it goes wrong, it goes wrong for this team. It does.
Yeah.
When it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Didn't the ball he kicked when the ball hit off the uprights, and then didn't make it. I mean, so Nebraska, it just not the dominoes aren't falling the way they want them to fall right now.
And you can see that with Scott. You can see this, like, you can just see the look.
He's frustrated.
Yeah, I mean,
he's upset. I don't think he has any answers right now why he's going this way, because no one's expected for Nebraska to be 0-6.
Yeah.
And I said this to one
first time in history.
And I said this to one of my good buddies. Okay? And I know I'm going to get beat up on this, which I don't care. Nebraska has had how many head coaches here in the last 10 years?
4?
Yeah, maybe longer. Maybe let's say last 15. You had Callahan.
Yeah, Callahan.
You had Pelini. You had Mike Riley, and now you have Scott Frost.
Yeah.
How many of those coaches started off this season 0-6, playing with other people's players?
Just one.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Just one.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. So we can continue to use Mike Riley's players. Hey, Mike Riley played with Bo Pelini players, and he won 5 games his first year. Okay, Bo Pelini came in, and I think he took Nebraska to the Big 10 championship, Big 12 championship game his second year.
Yeah.
I mean, but he won 9 games every year he was here. Bill Callahan never went 0-6, playing with Frank Solis players.
Yeah.
So just put that in the back of your mind there for a little bit. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not throwing eggs at Scott, but I'm just telling people sometimes it does come down to coach's decisions. Sometimes it does come down to doing the things that your kids can do to be successful. So we see the same mistakes over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Again. We're seeing them. So what do you do about it? That's what's puzzling. I'll see if it was okay, false starts. Okay. Why would continue having many false starts? Why? Holding penalties. Why we continue having holding penalties?
The false starts really. All right, so for all of us, just all the fans out here and the people that really don't know what's going on in the huddle and then lining up and snapping, what's triggering these false starts? Like what's the setup or the process happening? And
it can be two things. See, here's the thing. I truly believe to where when they started doing this spread gun offense type stuff, players are used to hearing a cadence.
Yeah.
And they don't. All they hear is clapping or they're anticipating it's coming. To where when you can hear someone bark out a call and if this guy says on 2,
yeah,
you in practice you get a rhythm. What this quarterback rhythm sounds as 2,
yeah,
and what this quarterback rhythm sounds as 2, 3, or 1. But when you're in a gun offense, it's hard because now you gotta trust your instincts of somebody moving. The ball being snapped, but then you got to focus on the guy who's rushing against you.
So they're not hearing that cadence anymore.
No, because I don't think there is a cadence. Most teams, all I'm hearing is clapping. They get down, and then they clap. When they're ready to clap, 1 clap, 3 claps, 5 claps, whatever. Or you see some people where when they're ready, the guard will look back, and when the quarterback's ready, he'll tap the guy and the guy snap the ball. So I think that's part of it. I'm going to tell you that, and when Coach Osborne, you didn't see many false starts because we were disciplined for jumping off sides because that's a pre-snap penalty. That's something that happens before the play even starts.
Yeah.
You can't blame nothing on that person of lack of focus, lack of discipline in their mind. Maybe they got too much to think about. There's a lot of things that happen. But that's one thing that Coach Osborne up was pre-snap penalties.
That's interesting because I never really thought of it that way. The play hasn't even taken off yet.
Yes.
It is just a complete lack of discipline or whatever.
Focus, whatever you want to call it. Pre-snap penalties kills you.
Huh. That would be one thing you would think right away you
address that.
Like, we can't have those.
How many false starts did we have yesterday? Even on defense, how many times does defense jump off the ball? Your defense line, your number one job is looking at that ball.
Yeah. Huh.
Pre-snap penalties kills a lot of teams. That's lack of focus and not being disciplined.
When you guys did it back on our Osborne, did you do the cadence?
No, we did cadence.
You did cadence?
We did cadence. Yeah.
Interesting. Why did they go away from that? Why do you think they're going away from it? Is it just
because it's a spread offense. I think some of these stadiums are loud.
That's what I say. Is it
like for instance, we use hand signals in loud stadiums, but we still bark at the cadence for the offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still did that. I don't know if they barking cadence out, but I do see a lot of clapping.
Yeah.
Which to me signifies sending the back, clap, look, and snap the ball. Maybe it's 1 count, 2 count, snap. Maybe 1, 2, 3 snap. Well, I don't know the logistics, but pre-snap penalties is killing this team. The very first play yesterday, I'm going to say this, the very first play of the game, the guard, ball starts.
Yeah.
And he's sitting right there next to the ball. Can't say much about that. Was that refereeing?
Nope.
The question is, what are they doing to eliminate that stuff?
Yeah, that's what Corey asks. I mean, I'm sure you're not down there, but he asked, what do you think they're doing to address these penalties in practice?
I don't know. Not there. Yeah. But they're still happening, so maybe they're not doing much. I don't know. Like I say, I don't so much mind the when the ball snapped and there's a physical penalty like holding or pass interference, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I get that. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes holding, you guys just didn't get his feet in the right way, and that's had nothing to do with just probably he's out of position or he kicked back too slow. But when you jumping off sides before the ball is even snapped, you losing yardage right there. You put that first and 10 to first and 15 is a totally different play call. Totally different play call.
Neil says the defense is slow. He said, whatever happened like the old time 305 pounders front.
We're not talking about the old time because anytime I bring out anytime someone asks me a question about the past, I keep being like, well, we're not 94, 95 again. So stop bringing up the old time.
I knew exactly where you're going. Like I almost hesitated to read.
No, I'm glad you said
pause,
that. I'm glad you said it because people will. All I do is answer questions what people ask. Mm-hmm. And then people blast over you. Well, this is not 94, 95 again, so stop bringing up that. So people stop bringing up the old time because it's not the old times.
What I like to do is I like to compare. Like I like to ask you about 94, 95 just for the stories. Or then sometimes I like just from the comparison so I can understand sometimes.
Right.
But the expectation, we've said it over and over. You've said it over and over and over that the game is very different.
The game is very different.
How we train is different.
Okay, but see, here's where I find people and fans are very contradictory of themselves. You know, they say they want things like it was in the 90s again, year 2000, okay? But when we answer what was done in the 90s and 2000, well, we don't live there.
Yeah.
So stop talking about that. So you can't say, well, how would you guys have done it back then, and then turn around and say, well, we're not there anymore. It's a totally different time in football. So what can we do now?
Yeah.
There's no team that's going to do it like they did in the old time. Alabama created their own culture based off what they did in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
You don't hear them go back and say, what are we going to do? What we need to do. Oklahoma's the same way. They create their own culture for what college football is now.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to talk about the old time anymore because we get beat up all the time because people say, well, this is not 94, 95. You're right, but then stop asking questions about what we would have done in those days. Because the things we would have done in those days, a lot of this stuff you're seeing right now would never happen.
Well, we've talked about it over and over and over. It wouldn't have happened, or a lot of the players on the field, if not all the players on the field right now, would not be on those teams.
No. You might have a couple that probably be a backup, but starting, no. Yeah. And I know my buddy Kevin last week said, well, Stanley Morgan probably could have played. No, he couldn't. He probably played from catching the ball, but he wouldn't have got on the field because he couldn't block.
Yeah.
That was a requirement for the receivers back then to block.
Yeah.
So he might have been good at catching the ball and running routes, but he wouldn't have got so much playing time because he can't block.
How many passes did you guys average back then?
Oh, depends. I think like 15 a game. 15
yeah.
A game, yeah. 15 to 20 a game.
Wasn't very many.
No.
Didn't need to be.
No. So people stop asking me questions about the old time because I'm getting tired of people saying it's being contradictory.
I love talking about the old times myself even. I don't like saying, what would you have done?
Yeah.
I like to ask, what did you do so I can...
Yeah, there's things, but
I get it. Yeah,
there's things that... So fans are very contradictory of themselves.
Gary asked about the DB place. We talked about that already, Gary. We talked about it.
They're playing the best guys out there, and defensive backs... It's twofold. Either you have guys who can cover forever, or you got to get pressure on the quarterback, get the ball out of the guys out of his hands, so the guys don't have to cover forever. We've been seeing this for the last how many years? 4 years to where defense haven't gotten pressure, and it made our secondary look bad because they have to cover forever. It's not like I'm saying. It's not like I'm saying guys just running by Nebraska catching deep balls. No, I'm seeing 10, 15-yard passes and guys catching them and making plays.
Yeah.
Hey, but if you don't get pressure on the guy, what you see yesterday is what happens. That's the toughest job on the field, being a secondary guy. That's the toughest job on the field.
Well, I thought there was some pretty good coverage yesterday. They got called on some penalties, and it's judgment.
It's judgment.
I thought but it was so close. I'm like, God, these guys. I mean, you're talking about a fraction of a second.
Just a half a second.
Man, like it's so. Yeah, that's a difficult game. What we haven't talked about at all is the running back situation yesterday. Like, so we talked about before. Maurice Washington. We didn't see a lot of him, and when he didn't do a whole lot yesterday. But Zigbo, I don't remember what the yardage was.
It was like he had 155 yards on 22 carries.
159 yards on 22 carries, averaged 7.2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
That guy there, you should have been feeding him the ball the whole game. Should have been feeding him the ball the whole game. He's having 7 yards a carry. So that means every 2 carries, it's a first down.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? How many times did we throw the ball yesterday?
24 times?
24 times. 24.
I'm sorry, 30. We threw 35, completed 25.
And I understand you're trying to be balanced.
Yeah.
But when you got a game like that, where you have a running back averaging 7 yards a carry, and I know you had a 30-some yard run, but it's still averaging 7 yards a carry, which means every 2 times he touches the ball, it's a first down. Why not feed that beast? Why not feed that horse? And I understand you got a young guy who's talented, but he shows spurts. But you get a ball to the guy that's hot.
It is interesting how Ezigbo has really came on as the hot guy.
Yeah.
Last year he was good in moments, but he wasn't overly impressive all the time.
Right.
And
I felt Nebraska could play. I felt Nebraska could have did a lot more on the run game versus Wisconsin running him.
Yeah.
Playing Washington as much as they did.
Yeah. He's looked really good the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, last week it was. I didn't see that against last week. They barely played him.
Yeah, and maybe Ezigbo's not the ideal running back you want for this system. You want a quick guy who can run and also catch the ball. I get that.
Yeah.
But you got to use the guys that you have right now, the guys you can rely on, and who can you rely on right now from the running back?
He's hot. He's been consistent.
Yes.
I just want to change.
So for me, is that play call? Is that coaching?
Yeah.
I'm asking a question, and people say, "What's play call?" I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing a question out there. Is that play call and coaching? And don't be afraid to answer that question, people.
So Kelly said, I know I just said don't bring up the past, but can you imagine the beast Ezigbo would be if Riley would have never used him?
I don't get that question.
I don't get it sometimes either. But I just think she's just referencing how Riley, I don't know, didn't use Ezigbo. He was a different player under Riley. He was heavy. He was heavier.
And what you're seeing now is a guy who's in his senior year, who knows that this is my last opportunity to even get a smidge at an NFL team looking at this. Right? And so he worked his butt off this offseason to drop weight and to become faster. Now, I'm going to say this about Ezigbo. If he'd have shown the same dedication when Mike Riley was the head coach, he might have been a beast.
Yeah.
But he's waiting till his last year to show the dedication and effort he's getting. So the only person to blame for that is Ezigbo. That's the only person to blame.
Yeah.
Because he had every opportunity when Mike Riley was here to get this many carries a game. And he was out of shape.
Yep.
And he was injury prone. And he wasn't as fast. So you blame everything that he didn't get in the last 3 years he was here on him, not the coaching.
Looks good this year though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
We need somebody.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just start
But my problem is that when you think of the running back situation, are you telling me that Will Baum and Jalen Bradley are that bad?
They're just off the radar.
I'm just asking a question because these are guys that when Jalen Bradley came in from Bellevue West, he's supposed to be the next coming into Armand Green. And he played sparingly last year. Okay, special teams or something.
Yeah.
But where is he now? What's going on there?
It's a great question.
How come Michael Wilbon fell so far off the tree when he played a lot last year?
He ran. I mean, he dominated the Northwestern game last year.
So you mean tell me? And Maurice Washington is that much better than Jalen Bradley and Michael Wilbon right now? I haven't watched one practice, so I'm asking. That's a question that I'm asking out there.
It's a good question. It's confusing when I look back.
Is it Bradley redshirting this year?
I don't know.
Was he still could have played 4 games inside the red shirt?
Yeah. No.
So I don't know. I don't get it. I'm puzzled about that. I'm puzzled about that one player right there.
I was puzzled. I mean, you're right, Brad. I was always thinking about Wilbon just because of the amount of play time he has had in the past, and he's nowhere now.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about a sophomore who
you're right.
One of the top players in the country last year, and I coming out of 2 years coming out of high school.
Great.
I'm just asking. I don't know because
I don't even know what to say.
That puzzles me.
I don't even know what to say. I agree. It's very the fact that we're not even seeing or hearing about him, or no special teams,
no special team, nothing. So that means he's probably redshirting. If he's redshirting, I'm fine with that. But if he's one of your top players, why are you redshirting him? So there's something going on down there that either he's not picking it up, or Maurice Washington is that much better than him.
Who said this? Where's this at?
Well, we got a lot of comments and questions today.
Oh, I'm trying to keep up with sometimes the feed jumps ahead and it's hard to
go back.
And sometimes people just don't type in sentences anymore. You know how they
type in words.
It's weird how you can text somebody in words and you know what they mean and you can text back, but when you try to read it out loud and comprehend it, it's like
sense.
What? Yeah,
makes zero sense.
It's really a struggle. So it's a skill I don't have.
Especially when people you be using like letters and this and that by that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, spell it out.
I know this is all hypothetical and everything. Now, Dontrell, hopefully I said that right. Dontrell said, "Do we need to go back to the Big 12?"
No. we'll be getting our butts handed to us in the Big 12.
I know that won't ever happen or anything, but I still thought it was a fun question.
People, what team can we beat in the Big 12 right now?
We would get lit up.
So people keep saying this hypothetical, but look at the Big 12.
Because the Big 12 is dominating passing, right? That's where they're doing a lot.
Yeah, what team in the Big 12 can we beat right now outside of – and even Kansas is looking a little better.
Yeah, Kansas is looking better.
Yeah.
Hey, I see Manhattan, Kansas. There was a website, totally off subject. Manhattan, Kansas was listed as the 4th most desirable place to live in the country.
Yeah, because there's nothing there.
What the hell? Like that I'll never go back to that website.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Just because it's in the middle of Kansas. It's like low crime rate, low proper cost of living.
There's nothing there, though.
There's nothing there. But
anyway.
That's why. So people say Big 12. We wouldn't be any better than the Big 12 right now.
No. It's a different game, but...
you think, okay, still on his hypothetical.
Okay.
Do you think Nebraska right now can beat Texas?
But definitely do not.
Oklahoma.
Definitely do not.
TCU.
Nope.
Texas Tech.
They would light us up. Texas Tech would light us up.
Texas Tech. Iowa State. No.
Probably.
Baylor. Maybe. Kansas. Be close.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State.
Nope.
No. I'm missing 2 teams.
Kansas State.
Be a toss up.
West Virginia.
No.
Is that all of them?
That's all of them. It's only 10 teams. So what does that tell you right there? We'll probably win 2 games, maybe 3 games that we both said maybe.
Yeah.
3 games out of.
And I'm not an expert, so that's just based on my.
You don't have to be an expert. You can just look how they're playing.
I just Northwestern just put up 455 yards passing on us. What do you?
Thank you.
Whew. What is Texas Tech and TCU going to do? You know, like those teams.
Come
like,
on, that's why hypothetically, I think we're in the right place because you have some teams that you have your top teams, but everybody else is right there, evenly matched.
Yeah,
evenly matched. If you take out Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Penn State, take those 4 teams out of there. Everybody else in the conference is pretty much even when it comes to talent level. I won't get scared of Nebraska playing those teams.
Yeah.
There's nothing about – but you put them in the Big 12 and you say, right now Iowa State is better than – and I thought that tastes like crap coming out of my mouth saying that, but it's true.
It's true.
And look what kind of coach they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to take time here, people. It's going to take time, but all we can do is discuss what's happening this year. We can't predict the future. We can talk about the present.
Ooh. Matt says 200 of their passing yards came in 200 of that came in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Holy crap, really?
I think it was like all of the passing yards on the last drive was passing yards.
Damn. I need to read the stats better. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they did go 99 yards. That was all passing.
That was all passing. With the exception of the roughing the passer, it was all passing.
Do you like Gifford and Barry's linebacker play?
The linebacker play has actually been better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Seems like it's been better this year.
It's been better this year than it's been in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So I like what those guys bring there. But I'm going to go back to this. For me, it's the scheme that bothers me more than the players. And defensively. And I've said it many times, I have never liked the 3-4 defense. Why? Because you got to have special players to run the 3-4 defense. You got to have a nose tackle that can take up 2 blocks every time. Okay? You got to have a rush in on each side that can take up 2 blocks every time. Okay? Since we don't have that, why not put an extra defensive lineman there and give our linebackers an opportunity to roam instead of have to take on a 300-pound guy on the run game? Now, if they recruit the players that can fit this system, then I'm happy with that. If they can get a guy like Wisconsin have in the 3-4, the guy's 6'2", 315 pounds, that's strong and can move, fine. But we don't have those type of players in this system to be running. So if you want your linebackers to be the players they can be, put another guy down in front of them to keep the linebackers out and let the guys run.
Was Jake just asked a question about how do we get the defense back on track? Can we ever be the black shirts again? Which you kind of
just... We are the black shirts.
So there's 2 questions there before you get on the black shirt thing. Because I know what you say. Before you get on that, so back on track, would one of those things be fair to say we should probably, instead of creating schemes and trying to force the players into it, it would be more ideal to play schemes that match up with the talent level now? I've
been saying that from day one, that you got to do the things that your players can do. I understand you have until you get the players in here that can do what you really want to do. Yeah. It's no different than Mike Riley offensively. You think he wanted Tommy Armstrong as his quarterback all those years? No. So what did he do? He adapted his offense to suit Tommy's talents.
Yeah.
And then that's when he got who was his last guy that he brought in here? Lee. Terrence Lee. Then that's when he started doing more of that pro style stuff. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I think they won quite a few football games.
The biggest disaster.
Quarterback.
No, you're right. That was actually good, and people don't give Riley enough credit for things like that because we pick on a lot of other things. But you know where the biggest disaster was in my mind that I can think of? The opposite, where we put a scheme in that did not fit any of the players whatsoever, was Callahan when he came in with Joe Daly.
But guess what?
Holy crap!
But then he found Joe Gans, and what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I feel bad for Daly. Daly was one of those guys I was excited to watch play, and he just didn't get the fair,
And so that's why I keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying to him till I can't say it anymore. That when you go through a transition, and this is what I appreciate about Mike Riley, he didn't try to force that pro style offense that they ran in Oregon State based off what Tommy Armstrong can do. He based his offense on all the talents of Tommy Armstrong as his quarterback and what his running backs can do off his line, and then he recruited guys that can get there.
Yeah.
But Tom, they won 9 games with Tommy one year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Hey, they won 6 games with Tommy one year, correct? Did they go to a bowl game 1 year? 2 years with Tommy? So there's something to say about sometimes you got to adjust your scheme to what the players can do until you get your guys in that can do what you really want to do.
Corey says it's like the old saying, fitting a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it because now's the time to try to implement your whole system. Okay, by doing that, this is what you get. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. If this is your goal, this is what you want to do, then you stick by your guns, knowing it's going to get better.
Yeah.
But you still got to take criticism. You're still going to have people talk the way they're talking because they're not seeing the success in wins. and we got people say, well, we're getting better. Yes, we are getting better at some areas.
Well, somebody else asked us. I don't remember who said it, but somebody just asked us a few minutes ago and said, week by week, what do you see on the field that actually has improved?
I'm seeing them compete better. I'm seeing them making strides offensively. I'm seeing them doing the thing defensively. Defense. I don't see too many strides being made because they're still giving up tons of yards, whether it's running or passing. But they're gaining that experience. But at the end of the day, I don't look at more victories as the barometer. Because you can find more victories than anything. You can say, okay, well, Divine Example was a moral victory.
Yeah.
Can you not say that? You can say J.D. Spellman last week versus Wisconsin was a moral victory. There's people who are improving week in and week out, but they're not improving as a team as a whole. And that's where, for me to sit here and say that they're improving, until I see an improvement as a team as a whole, then that's I'm not going to say they're improving, because they're not improving as a team as a whole, because they have at least 2, maybe 3 victories this year.
Jeff wanted to share a stat with us. UCF is 6-0.
Yeah.
And you is 0-6.
I think, and so what does that tell you right there? And wait a minute. And this is a coach who, new coach they have, right?
Uh-oh.
He didn't change anything that those guys did.
Yeah.
He adapted what he did to the players they had.
Yeah. And here they are 6-0.
They're 6-0. And so you look at this 2 ways. Scott didn't recruit all those kids that are there. There was already, but they put a coach in there.
Yeah.
So was this coach smart enough to understand and say, why change things when things are rolling? Our job is to make sure that we continue rolling. So yes, I like doing this type of offense. I like doing this type of defense, but why change it up? Let's continue. What did they do well? Because there's a reason why they were undefeated last year, and let's build on that.
Yeah. Which Wisconsin is a great example.
Yeah,
we said this last week. You said it many times, but Barry's figured out that program and how to bring a coach in and just play to the strengths.
Yeah, well, our strength is run the football.
I think part of the challenge is Nebraska doesn't have any strengths right now. They don't know
what they want to do.
Yeah, so somebody's got to set the foundation.
We've been saying. So what is the foundation? My question is, what is the foundation?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm hoping Scott answers. I don't know.
No, I understand what he's doing. I understand what they're doing, but I'm keep saying time and time again. What can defense hang their head on, no matter what, when times get tough, they didn't go out there and execute their scheme? What can an offense do when times are tough, that they know that we can call this handful of plays here and we're going to keep it again, we're going to be successful with these 10 plays? Knowing that something not going to work every time.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So what is the base system? Offensively, I understand this is a fast-paced movement. It's all about tempo. I understand tempo. But within tempo, what's your base?
That's all I ever hear is tempo.
Yeah, but what's your base, though? Defense. I understand you're a 3-4 scheme.
I don't even know.
But I see 3-4 scheme, but what is your base defense? If you can't play your base defense and run simple stuff out of that?
Because we've seen a very different game plan last week than we did the week before.
I've seen
a
different game plan every week.
Yeah. So I
don't
know.
And I'm going back to the old. One thing Coach Osborne did was his base offense was a base, and then he took things based off his base offense and then try and make matchups and open things up. But our base offense will never change. Now he might one week say, okay, versus this team right here, this team has success with this, we're gonna take our base offense and we're gonna run shotgun 2x2, and we're still gonna run the football.
Yeah.
And if they put them out, we're gonna throw the quick game, or we're gonna put 2 tight ends because we balance them up, and we're gonna do. But the base offense never changed. We knew that when times got tough and we couldn't perform, we going to the base stuff.
Sean says the conference UCF is not the Big Ten.
Doesn't matter. Really? We talked. Yeah, and also you look at the coaching of the Big Ten. It's a lot better than what's in the conference that UCF in.
I don't know if we're really trying to compare conferences.
We're not trying to compare conferences. What we're trying to do is compare schemes and players.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. And last time I checked, doesn't matter what conference that you're playing in. If you're a good football team, you're going to beat a lot of teams. For instance, look what Liberty did to Shore, and Shore beat us.
Yeah.
So it's not comparing conferences; it's comparing football teams and players. That's all we're doing.